All right. So, hey, I think that's working.
The time.
The time is 8:05,
Right.
and we're here.
Yes. Due to technical difficulties.
Yes, every week.
Every week somebody has it.
Right.
So why not this week?
Right.
Yeah.
Same old stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Can you hear us before we start the stream?
Yes.
We're coming through loud and clear.
Hello,
Can you hear us?
hello.
Have I disappeared off the internet is another good one.
Yeah, Martin's good at doing that.
Yeah, if I disappear, I apologise. Or I don't know, maybe that's a good thing. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll just pull the plug. I reckon it's Ken. It was fine when Ken wasn't around, but then Ken came in and he disappeared.
Yeah, that's actually, yeah, good
I'll
point.
tell you what I do need to do though, gentlemen. I think I just need to turn you guys up and me up a tad.
Oh dear.
That sounds apparently all good on mine.
Yeah, all good on mine as well. Rory says he can
Good,
hear us.
good.
Hi, Rory. Club and Painting. Good afternoon. Good evening to you. Graham Fennell. Hello
Yeah.
there, mate. And Paul and Duncan. I can see in the chat. Hi, guys. Good evening.
Evening,
Yeah.
everybody. Right.
We got
Okay.
Evening, all
Reapers
chaps.
watching us. Hello, mate. Brush and Quill, and Ewan and Aaron Lowe. Hello.
Right. Let's kick this off, lads. So, good evening and welcome to episode 34 of the Plastic Crack podcast with me, Ken from Miniature Wargaming Warriors. Above me, you've got Martin, seventh son. To my diagonal this week, you've got Dom from Boots on the Table, and to my right, you have Steve from On Point HQ. Good evening, gentlemen, and sorry about last week.
I thought that was really fun.
I thought it was the most entertaining you've been in months, actually, Ken. I thought it was fantastic.
I think you should go to a secret
It was-
location every week and just say, and we can spend 2
It
hours
was
trying to
very
guess where you are.
different.
Maybe it could be a
bit like
a subscribers sort of
challenge.
drop in. You could just sort of
Am I outside your door? No, am I...
Exactly.
Do out the deck, do? Am I outside your door? Come out in your street? Do you recognise this place?
So, can I just
Should I be?
Go on.
Should I be prepared to call the authorities?
Definitely should.
Can I just respond to something straight away? Just because Kaiser's just said something to me. And he said, am I seriously dressed as a Marshal of France? Yes, because the 95th Rifleman up there sent it. And so I have to wear it. I'm painting something that Dom and Kaiser will both appreciate. Probably a bit too much, actually. But I'll wait to show that.
That's always a good one, isn't it?
I'd say I'm wearing mine this week. Last time I wore this, Paul compared me to Kenny Everett on the Facebook group.
I love it. Oh, brilliant. Never has been so much
The
fun.
likeness was uncanny, it really was.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So, oh God, I've actually got some. Hello, everybody in the chat. Modeling for Advantage, Steve Reeves, Tim Bix, and Imaginary Conflicts. Welcome. It's great to have you here.
Oh, Jason from Battle Knights
Laura
has
had
just
thrown
joined
him
as
out
well.
last week.
She did.
Oh God, they know Laura's name now. That's it.
You did a video
Laura,
with her in
YouTube
your fault.
famous. Huh? I said you're YouTube famous because people know your name on here and asking about you.
Ken's told us lots.
Oh dear. Also got new
still alive.
viewer here, Bearded Dwarf 1. He says, "Hi guys, finally got to see you live." To be honest, we're better
Fantastic
canned.
work.
We're better canned than we are live,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
Well,
And muffled, you name it. Yeah.
mothballed any other way you can get. But welcome. Jesus.
We've got Randolph McGee, Jay from NI Miniatures, hello mate, and the Epic Joey says hello, Brush and Quill, hello mate, and he loves the Kenny Everett's Frenchman.
Great, isn't it?
Oh dear.
So,
So
gentlemen,
before we get going today,
go on, Dom.
I thought we ought to actually. This is care of our friend Leslie, and he tweaked my memory and he tweaked my conscience a bit on this, and he's quite right. So I don't want to make a big thing about it. But tomorrow, not tomorrow. What day is it today? Wednesday is Remembrance Day, isn't it? And Sunday was Remembrance Sunday. So I thought we should do just 5 minutes, just sort of Remembrance Day, really. And I don't know about you. I listened briefly to the Two Fat Lardies did a very short, well, not very short, it was actually quite a long video where they sort of just took examples of people that they think of around Remembrance Day. And I don't know whether you guys have anybody that, or any sort of general people that you think about around Remembrance Day. And because since we're in a hobby that involves war, it's pretty close to what we do. Any thoughts?
As far as I know, I'm sure I did have relatives actually fighting the wars, but like close relatives, like my granddad was just a bit too young. My other granddad was over here, was a bit too young as well. But his great granddad, my great granddad, I gather probably fought in the war, but I don't know to what capacity. And obviously, when you're probably, I was only about 17, 18 when he died. It's not really something I was going to approach him about. I'll have to ask my dad one of these days, just to find out if I did have any relatives. But there's down by me the Netley Hospital, where they brought casualties back from the First World War and the Second World War and POWs and stuff. Really quite a big hospital it was. The site's still there, not the whole hospital, just the main bit of the building. But they've got a cemetery there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's got loads. Obviously, it's got loads of soldiers in it from the First and Second World War, from both sides as well. You've got soldiers from all over the place.
Yeah.
Germany. You've got you've got British. You've got American in there. There's Polish, Lithuanian. There's French. There's two Italians, and I think there was one. Oh God, I remember in a minute, and it was obscure Greek. There's a Greek guy in there. I just tend to have a walk round and just say, just like think in my brain, just respect and thanks for what they've done and everything like that. So I don't have anyone immediate that I can pick off the top of my head, but it's just grateful and it's just to show respect and just walk around in quiet and just, not forgotten sort of thing.
Yeah, good on you, mate. Good on you. I agree. What about you, Steve?
My granddad, he was in Royal Navy. He served on the HMS Rodney in World War II. Thing that always reminds me of right around this time is my nan. She obviously didn't fight in World War II, but what she said was that she lived in Liverpool. My half my family's from Liverpool. Obviously, bombed during the war, and she always said that the war was sort of one of the happy. It sounds a bit weird, but one of the happiest times in her life because it brought people together, and it was the solidarity and everyone looking after each other and just that whole neighbourly. That whole neighbourly feeling. So that always reminds me of it that so someone who didn't actually go weren't fighting, but they were on the receiving end of it as well. So the horrors of that, but being able to take positives out of it, it was the happy time of their life. The one thing I would say, people did things that I don't think I've got it in me to do. And I can't say it better than that. I don't think I've got the courage or the conviction to be able to do what those people did. I think we were just a hardier generation of people back in those days. People, they joined up. They fought for the cause, and many didn't come back. I just think as we progress as a society, I think those values, those morals, and that courage, I think it's lacking somewhat in today's society. But definitely a doff of the cap to people who stood up, volunteered, and put themselves in harm's way. For the futures of people that hadn't even been born, for me that's the one thing I always think about it.
Yeah, well said, mate. Well said. What about you, Martin? Anybody?
Never knew about your granddad, mate. Never knew about that. HMS Rodney.
Yeah.
Play.
Martin, anything from your side?
Yeah, mine's a little bit of a weird one. Both my grandparents, granddads. One was in the RAMC attached to the 11th Armored Division.
Oh wow!
So he was a stretcher bearer, but pulling people out of tanks, which I can't imagine.
That must have been grim.
Was
no,
good. My other granddad was in the Navy. He was a signalman, but he was a bit of an Uncle Albert, and he went down like 3 times. He got the Distinguished Service Medal, and he got mentioned in dispatches twice. So I'm trying to currently at the moment find out what he got mentioned for. But no, weirdly, the person I think of, my granddad who was in the Navy, his wife, my gran, she worked at Bletchley Park.
Oh,
but
wow.
we didn't. But we didn't know till 1995 when she could tell us. We just thought she said she was a telephone operator for 50 years, and then she got
very
a letter
important telephone operator.
Yeah, so she worked at Bletchley Park. So my dad keeps on getting letters from them and things like when they do commemorations and stuff like that because she's there. She's got her name on the sort of roll of honour at Bletchley Park. But who I think of is her first husband, who was an artilleryman, but he was stationed in Saigon, and he was captured by the Japanese when they capitulated.
Oh wow!
And he unfortunately ended up on the death railway where he died. And my grandma, she spent a great deal of life. She only got a telegram basically saying, missing in action, then confirmed by the Red Cross that he died. But until Burma opened up in the early 90s, she wasn't able to go. So in the early 90s, she went out there. It was covered by the BBC, weirdly. She did like a little pilgrimage to his grave for the first time in the jungle. But after my gran died, my dad we were going through all these papers and we found all the telegrams and this guy's service record. And then it kind of hit me and my dad we were thinking about it, and especially me quite hard, because my gran met my granddad after the war. And if this chap hadn't have been killed, I wouldn't exist, my dad wouldn't exist. And he had no immediate family other than my gran. Wow. And so all that exists of him on this earth really that you can see is this grave in Myanmar, sorry, and this brown envelope that my dad's got with all these telegrams and stuff in it. So we've kind of taken it on ourselves to try and piece together a bit of his life and his story. So we've been trying to do that over the last couple of years. So we're thinking sort of putting it all together, because it's weird, because in a weird way, it's kind of it's like the man who, I can't remember how my dad put it, but he basically, this guy had to die, or had to not be here anymore with my gran, otherwise we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't exist. It was just a bit of a sobering thought. His name was Leslie Surridge. But yeah, it was just a bit that sort of tracing that back has just been a bit interesting, because we kind of feel almost responsible for this guy's story, as it were, because there's no one else for it. So
is there anything you could do with once you get all that information, could you donate it to the British Museum and stuff like that? Or, we thought the Death March, wasn't it? So.
Yeah, we were going to. Well, there's one part of the Imperial War Museum's got an exhibit, not exhibit. Yeah, we were thinking about doing a small, not a book per se, but an account. Just because it's just interesting from a bit of a research, and we keep on finding out sort of more and more stuff about him, which obviously no one ever knew, because his mum, he didn't know he was an orphan, or he was put up in an orphanage, and then he didn't have any brothers or sisters, and then he met my nan, married her, and then he got drafted. So or he volunteered, I can't remember. But yeah, so that's who I think of. It's a bit of a weird one.
That's a hell of a story. It's like you say, it's one of those amazing things. You start thinking things through, and you think, actually, I wouldn't be here but for the fact what happened to him. So very mixed emotions. I imagine. If
these horrible events hadn't happened, but of course, it's amazing how these events shape us now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everything happens.
I'm just thinking. I wonder how many other people are out there, though, with They went out to fight. Very, very little family left behind, and they get killed. And you think that's the end of them. There's nothing else
anymore
after that. It's just
And probably very likely because they were very young.
It's a bit.
They hadn't really started their lives. If they, a lot of them just got married when they went off to serve, and that was it. If they didn't come back, that was the end of them. It's very sad. I know.
It's it's quite sobering.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. I think the whole thing is. I mean, so the one there's a couple of people I think about, but one of the more recent ones I think about in the last sort of 30 odd years is my father-in-law, my wife's father, because he was on destroyers out in the Far East. He was a Akak gunner on HMS Penn, and he doesn't talk about it. He just will not talk about it. He's got medals and all sorts of things, but he's still affected to this day by what he saw in Asia during the war. Towards the end of the war, he went to Shanghai. Was it Shanghai jail? Some of those real hellhole jails where they, the Japanese are locked up lots of British, American, and other nationalities, and he was definitely coloured and scarred by it. Physically as well, because he has a very vivid burn on his hand, but he doesn't really talk about it. So it's difficult to really talk very much about that. But I just similarly my grandfather, one of my grandfathers, he didn't fight in the war. He was in he was a foreman at a factory that built Lancaster bombers, and so he was responsible for the cockpit area of the bomber, and he tells stories about the factory and all the being hit and all the terrible things that went on. I remember him talking about that when I was a kid, and it just sort of brings it all back, like that sort of home front bit more than anything else, with fire bombs being dropped on the factory, and they carried on working up until the very last minute because they needed to get the planes out the door. It was amazing.
Yeah,
amazing. But I'd sort of take difference with you, Ste, around they were a different breed of people. The people I've spoken to about old soldiers and what have you, they felt they're just doing a job, and I do think that even today, I know mates of mine who went off and fought in the Gulf War and things like that, and it's a similar kind of thing. They just did it because they didn't want to let their mates down, they didn't want to let their family down. So I think bravery is there all the time. But I think the difference in those wars, First World War, Second War, is they were so much younger. Jeez, they were young.
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, I've read quite a few accounts of when the First World War ended, and all the British troops came back. Many of them just didn't, for the rest of their lives, just refused to speak.
No. Oh, George won't. George won't talk about
what they've seen, what they've been through. It's like the famous chap Harry Patch. He ocked the whole thing out until he was in his late. I think it was in his 90s, and apparently he was in a nursing home, and someone turned a light on, and the flash just brought it all back. He'd spent most of his life blanking out what he'd seen. But I've got his I can't remember the name of the book, but it was a book he wrote with this other guy about his time in the First War. It's a really, really good book. Highly recommended.
That's nuts. That's it. Russian Quills just said on mine that his grandfather was at Bletchley Park, and only found out last year. That's
amazing,
weird,
isn't it? It really is.
It's crazy. There's a lot of people who went through there. That's crazy.
Well, it was all the official secrets. They weren't supposed to tell anybody, were they? That was the thing. So that even
they did well. They could keep a secret that then.
Well, that was the thing. There was no internet, and nobody talked about anything. When they said they kept a secret,
there was no me.
There was no you. You can't keep a secret. That's for sure. But yeah, it's true. Leon T66. Hiya, mate. He says. What do you say? His great-granddad died in a Nazi concentration camp. Oh, you're taking the piss, you pillock. That's a bit bad taste, mate. I'm not even going to say that one.
It's not the one about. I think I know what the punchline is on that.
Yeah, I thought he was being serious there. What a git. Paul says, my granddad was in the Desert Rats and drove tanks. He was severely burnt on his chest when his tank was hit, but he survived. And his granddad was in the RAF, was a navigator on the short Sunderlands. Oh, that must have been quite a trying thing. Graham Funnel says, says his uncle was shot down over Dortmund in 1944. And the last of the line, we do remember them. Yeah, too right, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
Rory at Culloden says his grandpa was in signals attached to the Desert Rats. Yeah. Oh well. I mean, I think the thing is, you try and honour them every year, and I think, you know, as I say, I don't think it's just those wars. I think, you know, every war since then. I think we have to, you know, think about the poor.
And every war previous, really.
Yeah, true.
Jim here, he says his father-in-law was a para in Northern Ireland, which left him with a sort of a few issues. So a constant reminder. My father-in-law was in Northern Ireland as well. He left the army once Haley was born. He couldn't do it anymore. As NI says, you know, see stuff over there. You know, obviously there's a lot of scars on all sides. Very much so.
Very true.
Again, just my dad served in Northern Ireland. If he hadn't been posted out there, I wouldn't be here. So it's strange that conflicts, you know, you think, like you said about before, decisions like that can you know, determine who gets born. Northern Ireland produced me. So there we go.
It is interesting when you start tracing things back. You know, would you say like, oh, you know, just as he went to Northern Ireland, and hence Steve's now on the chat. You know, it's it's a bit nuts. Miller's here now. Hello, mate.
Mate.
And Mike Blake says his great uncle George died 22 in Burma in 1944. I can't remember. I think my nan's first husband, I think he died in 43. I think. I need to get the stuff out again. My parents recently moved, so I had to pack everything up. I've got loads of archive quality stuff from work, and packed all these papers away. Have you guys got any like artifacts or like first-hand records or anything that your grandparents or whoever passed down? Have you got any stuff like that?
Not much.
No, none of that.
No, I've only got my granddad's national service stuff. I've got all his national service bits and bobs, and he stayed on a few years after that.
I would say, though, definitely it's worth doing it. Sorry, Martin, I was going to say, that was one of the things I was going to say, that it's well worth it if you have a grandparent or a distant relative who still can remember some of that. If they're prepared to talk about it, get a record of it, because those memories are going to be gone, and it's important we remember them. It really is.
Definitely. When my mum's parents both passed away, and we were sort of going through the house there, my granddad sort of left some bits and bobs to my mum, and we never really opened them. We went through and we found like his service history, but we found like the service made Christmas cards that he was allowed to send.
Oh wow, yeah.
Back to my nan, and also he clearly put his hand through a few windows when he was in Germany, and just grabbed some things, like some mementos, and so I've got a 10,000 Reichstag note, presumably from the Depression era. So that's probably
1920s or so. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's about this big. It's really big. Believe it or not, there's a barometer in my family that's all in German that we think he acquired.
He liberated.
Liberated.
Yeah. I can't remember, but I could tell you lots of different weather situations in German. I used to be able to. And finally, one of the things which is a bit weird, he was going through two things. I was going through my uncle's Meccano, the original, like the really old, like 1950s stuff, and I found this little tin, and I realised it was it's a tin for the morphine that my granddad had in his bag, because it come in like almost like a super glue kind of thing, and you'd have a needle on the end of it, and then you'd stab it in and squeeze the. Yeah. So my granddad had given him bits out of his medical kit to put his Meccano nuts and bolts in. So I've got this tin that says morphine on it, and then in the bottom of it there was this stuff wrapped up, and it's a sports neckerchief, a bit like a Scout's neckerchief.
Yeah.
Right, but it's a sports patch with an eagle and a certain symbol on it. Well, no, it's just it's the swastika. It's the eagle sitting on top of the swastika. But I think it was something to do with the Olympics, and he got out. But I think it was being used like as basically a rag for Meccano oil, like when he was like oiling up the engine. So we've got all these little bits and bobs. My other granddad had splinters of wood from the ships that I guess he was on that got destroyed. We've got like little splinters of wood.
I love that, Uncle Albert. Yeah,
I know it's a bit crazy.
Fantastic.
Well, we've all got tales, haven't we? But no, it's good to spend some time talking about it, especially so close to Remembrance Day.
Definitely. So. Nice one, Dom.
Nice one, mate. Nice one for that one.
Yeah, nice one, Dom.
That's all right.
Right.
Good. So what have you been up to then? Yeah, what have you been up to? Come on, Ken, you start, mate. You always get the bum end on this one. What have you been up to?
Lagarde.
Right, moving on.
So last week, obviously last week I didn't get a chance to do any painting, and it's only from Friday I've had a chance. But I'm painting up my garden at the minute because obviously Nattober got extended a week thanks to work. Cheers, work. Appreciate it. Appreciate the overtime, but I'll tell you what, my models didn't appreciate not getting painted. So they're what I'm up to at the moment. If I can get some light shining on them.
Yeah, good job. Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm literally just finishing up the other 6 for the command. I've washed them, and I'm actually doing some highlights on these. I haven't bothered with any of the others, but my guard, I don't know. I kind of want to do a bit more of an effort because I haven't speed painted these, unlike someone else.
It's important you paint them up nicely because you've got to honour your opponent when you rout them off the table. That's the important thing.
Oh, you'll love routing these, Dom. I've even done flesh highlights, Dom.
Oh, brilliant!
Are you saying I haven't painted mine nicely? Sorry, I've just logged on. I've just twitched on that one. Have you just said he's saying that mine not very nice?
No, I'm just saying it's good.
Oh, here we go. Fighting talk.
Because I'm disciplined.
You've had a haircut as well. I've only just noticed.
Yeah, that's because I was looking like some kind of like wretched sheepdog. So I just needed to desperately to get a haircut.
If anyone else noticed in the chat, because I've literally just noticed.
No,
it's good, mine.
No.
He looks a bit less like Chesley now.
Oh,
he does, mate, doesn't he?
Just a little bit.
No. Like I say, I've done 2 drummer boys, Steve. Well, it's not a drummer boy; he's a drummer man. I've done 2 of them, but no, I've got 6 more to do with this. I have put, because obviously I've only got until Saturday morning for these, and that's my cut off. I have put the other battalion in a safety bag, which is here.
What's a safety bag?
A bubble wrapped bag.
I thought that was some legacy of your lay-by adventures, the safety bag.
No, the other battalion have gone in there. So because and there's no way I'm going to get them done in a week if I'm doing them to this detail. So next time I do the French, but I've still got the 3 guns out. So I'm hoping I can get this battalion finished probably over the next 2 days, and then the 3 guns. The guns are done themselves near enough, but the crew, I'm hoping to get them done by Friday, and that will be everything done within a month. So then I'll do a video to round up Nattober. And then I'll be moving on to some 6mm ACW.
Oh, the 6mm.
Very nice.
The crowd goes wild.
Oh my goodness.
Yay!
6mm ACW. But then after that, we have got a beautiful month of Steve will approve. It's a beautiful bunch of bolt action. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yes. Looking forward to seeing that. That's going to be a good month.
Yeah, it will be a good month. So I'm excited about that. But obviously, I'm a bit disappointed. Warlords still haven't had their sprue sale. Get on the sprue sale. I want battalions for £4.
I wonder whether they're going to have one this time, because they've got a black.
They've gone so bloody well.
They've got a Black Friday sale going, but it's for big numbers, isn't it? It's for like multiple kits of like starter armies and stuff.
Yeah.
100 quid.
It's a bit crap, to be honest. Not gonna lie. Not gonna lie.
I wonder whether they're going to bother.
But I hope so, because I'll cry if they don't. I'll keep an eye on Perry's, but Perry's I don't think are doing anything, are they, at the moment?
Do you want a British starter army, Ken?
Not with that box. I'll probably do it at some point, but yeah.
Still there, mate. Just sitting there.
Oh dear,
And
good
it's
stuff.
Man battalions. Oh, yeah, but yeah, that's me. So
Excellent
that's
job.
what I'm doing tonight as well.
Oh, just got to say hi to Lee from Battle Bunker. He's just popped in to say hi. How's Mel doing, mate? I hope she's doing better. Don't know whether everyone saw Mel's gone down with the dreaded coronavirus.
Oh, no.
Hopefully she's feeling better. Good. Oh yeah, he's saying she's on the mend. Good stuff. Good stuff. Modelling for Advantage here as well. And
Good stuff.
Little Legion and oh blimey, loads of other Duncan, FX, everyone else. Anyway, sorry, I got distracted there. What about you, Steve? What have you been up to? I saw your gunslinger things. I don't know what they are, but they look really cool.
Yes, I've actually, it's been quite a diverse week. It's not just been German bolt action. So I've been working on more display bases, obviously, but I've made a start on the last stage of my early war bolt action French. I've been working on Wild West Exodus stuff. So it's been quite interesting. Although with my early war French, I've set myself a challenge with a quite hideous forfeit if I don't complete it.
You forfeited yourself. Why would you do
that? I want.
That is me.
It's to motivate me to finish these. I've had this army for nearly 4 years now, and it's quite small as well. So I want everything I've got completed by the end of November. And if I don't complete it, I'm going to listen to an album by Oasis.
Sure, he does it. Don't you worry.
I love it. Still.
A sort of penance for not completing my challenge.
Will you record it? You can record yourself reacting to it, please.
Oh, that would be hilarious.
Yes, I will. If it does come to that, I'll just basically be my eyes and my ears bleeding. So I try and wrap my head around dull as dishwater 4-chord dad rock. But that's just my own opinion of them.
Don't hold back, Steve. Tell us what you really think. Oh my god!
I just don't like them. Never have done. I just they're like I don't know.
Killing you right now. He thinks he's.
They're like ready salted crisps.
How can you not like ready salted?
No, I like ready salted crisps, but they're just there. They don't really do anything. They're not. There's no innovation. They didn't try anything new.
I love it.
Yeah, so.
Sorry, Russian Quills just said, "Will you look back in anger?" I think you started something.
Not today.
Oh my goodness!
See the thought of sitting through not just one song but an entire album. Oh God, I reckon I could paint every miniature in my collection as unpainted if that's the thing at the end. Oh God! But no, I have set myself a penance or the punishment of listening to them if I don't finish all of my early war French by the end of the month.
I almost want you to fail just to see that.
I kind of want that as well.
Yeah. It's an evil thing to think, Martin, but I do definitely want to see him fail just to see that. It was just so funny.
No. Having that brand of fresh hell waiting for him at the end of it, that's going to keep me motivated to get these guys finished. In fact, I'm very surprised if I don't finish everything tonight. Like some kind of speed painting frenzy.
Frenzy.
But that's what I've been up to: bolt action and Wild West Exodus and display bases. So quite a busy week.
I thought those Wild West figures look absolutely awesome, and so I don't know that game really. So for somebody like me, is it basically just sci-fi version of Western?
I think Martin would probably best explain it. I've got it. I've got the starter box, and I've played quite a bit, but I've never played a game of it. So I think Martin. I know he plays it, so he'd probably be best briefly outlining what it is and what it's like.
But it's a I can't remember the name of the company. The Dystopian Age. They made Dystopian Wars and another game. So it's set in a dystopian age. It's a Wild West steampunk sci-fi fantasy setting. Basically, anything that vaguely has any connection to a Western or sci-fi will kind of get made into it. You know the TV series Serenity?
Oh yeah,
the Firefly series.
Yeah,
yeah. There's a crew in there that is definitely not the people from Firefly. I've definitely not got the Emperor of Star Wars in my warband, and there's a lot of that. But basically, yeah, it's a low model count skirmish game. Sort of big vehicles. You can get horses with like big cannons on the side of them. That the sort of the equivalent the Native Americans use. There's magic. There's weird creatures. It's quite a nice system. It's all D10s. You like D10s, so and
I hate
it's entirely
D10s.
possible for the weakest model. It's entirely possible for the weakest model in the game to kill the strongest in one shot, which is something I like. It's very fast and quite bruising. Because of the rules, it's fairly brutal. And I've not played loads of games, but I've enjoyed each one that I've played. Games you can either have large armies of robots and robot dogs led by I sent you guys a picture of the judge who basically one of the posses is a lynch mob. So you just got loads of villagers like kids and bartenders and a guy carrying a noose and then this judge pointing and they just send them out. And then the other side you can just have like a sort of a steampunky version of Abraham Lincoln, like the zombie of George Washington and Wyatt Earp taking on the world. So it's a bit of fun, but the models are exceptionally nice. One of the nicest models I think I've painted this year is a giant werebear holding a twin minigun with a massive axe on its back, because it was just... And I tried to paint him up like some kind of psychotic Winnie the Pooh.
That's what I like about the miniatures. They're not 28 mil. What are they 32 or 35 mil? They're a lot bigger.
Yeah, they are.
They're regular 28 mil figures.
They've got these weird bases, haven't they? They're like pedestals.
Yeah, well, I've that's how I've based mine. So the sort of it's all dependent on the base size, not the base height. So
Right.
my figures are quite tall because I've mounted them on cork. So you have small, medium, and large bases.
Oh my god, I don't want to see one of your large bases, Steve. Jesus Christ.
No.
Can you imagine? Take every
There's some
time.
really nice sculpts in that range.
Just while we've got the floor, look what I had delivered from Warlord this week.
Have you got enough
dice?
Have you got enough there, mate? I mean, you know.
Well,
But he keeps giving them places.
Yeah, so these are 25p a bag, okay, and in here I have 2d6, 2d8, 2d10s, 2d16 and 2d20 I think it is.
Right.
And I've got 16 bags of them, and they were 25p a bag from Warlord sale.
Wow.
So I'm good for dice. I don't know about everyone else.
At least we
I've
know what we're
finally got my
getting
own
for
dice again, Dom.
About bloody
I don't
time. I
know
hate
which
losing
ones
on with my own dice. It's really annoying.
That's almost as bad as losing with your own figures, isn't it?
It is, yeah. He did that to me as well the first time we played.
Oh.
Dom, when's that video coming out anyway for that game you had?
I edited it today, but I had a hell of a job changing the result. It was really hard work.
I bet it is.
Yeah, I've probably got later in the week.
You get some stunt doubles in.
I did. It was hard work, you know. It was hard work, but you know, we got there in the end. Suddenly, it's become a miraculous victory for the Allies. I don't know how. But there you go. No,
a table being thrown.
Although I did get really annoyed. I spent ages editing a video this week, the end of last week, from a game I had from ages ago on the. Oh, it's the one I was referring to the other night about. I got a bit grumpy in because. Yeah, I just got a bit grumpy in, basically. Graham and Jonathan wound me up beautifully, and they did a fantastic job. So I edited the video, and I thought, to be fair, it wasn't a great game. But I thought, you know, it's going to be locked down, not many games to show, I'll edit it, and then at least it's done. And it was a really tricky one to edit, because I had to edit out as much of the grumpiness as I could of me, just to make me look good, you know, that kind of stuff. And I got to the very last sort of half an hour, and all the bloody footage was corrupted. So it was like, oh, flipping heck. Wasted all that time. So
been there, Dom. Been there.
Really annoyed me. But anyway, never mind.
It's not nice.
So then I had to go and do the one Ken and me had, and then do that one. So that will appear fairly soon. I finished it today, Ken. You'll be pleased to know.
I literally, I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a good game.
Apparently, who's somebody who said, "Oh, I've lost it now." There's been so much chat about Oasis and how you're going to die.
Yeah, same in here.
Bloody Oasis.
Footsore apparently have got a sale on apparently. Black Friday. That's fantastic.
Lovely things.
They're
lovely
beautiful
things.
figures, aren't they?
It's like Howard Carter, we opened Tutankhamun's tomb. You said, "What do you see?" He says, "Wonderful things." That's Footsore. It's wonderful.
What do they do though? What sort of models do they do?
Dark Ages,
Dark Ages, Baron Wars.
Greeks.
Oh yeah, the Baron Wars. Yeah. Oh dear.
Yeah, they are lovely figures.
They do some lovely figures for Operation Sea Lion as well. So if you ever want to do like a home guard army with all the strange characters, Footsore they've got a really good range of them.
Samurai, they have a wicked range of samurai as well.
I've got to be very careful because Laura's probably in earshot and I'm not allowed to buy any more models. I have to be very careful with my words. She said, if there's any packages turn up from model bloody companies while you still got these things, and I quote, I will chop your balls off.
Fair enough.
We send you some packages. Right? You heard it. Just send him some sprues.
Now everybody's sending figures now.
And it could be... Ken, it could be worse. You could be forced to listen to Oasis instead.
Could be. I don't mind Oasis though, Steve, but there we go.
I feel the same about Coldplay that you do about Oasis. So that's my...
Oh, God.
Yeah.
It's just like boring silence. It's just like just... I'd rather listen to silence. At least silence is productive.
We're just heading into
It's like the music equivalent of mashed potato.
Sorry.
What's wrong with mashed potato? Now you've gone too far now, for God's sake. Next you'll be dishing Marmite and stuff. This is just outrageous. Stop it now.
And
Bovril.
Miller's just said he loves Coldplay. I think we've had some who disagree on that.
Oh, Jesus. Right, Martin, what have you been working on, mate? Come on.
Yeah.
I finished my Eowyn and Merry for Lord of the Rings. I spent about a week on them because I wanted to actually try and do as good a job as I could on them and not get through them as quick as I could.
Yeah.
And they were it was quite enjoyable. I finished those ruins I was painting, and then I did some statues that I got for £2.50 for because they were misprints because I was just trying to create some terrain. But I've got I can knock those out now, and I think I did all 3 of those statues. I think it's about 20 minutes if you exclude the drying time of just, it's just so easy. And I know Steve likes using weathering pigments, and I use them when I'm doing terrain, and if you do a base coat, wash, dry brush, and then hit it with weathering pigments in various days, and just sort of, just a minute, it does it for you, and you get this sort of natural discoloration. And what I was trying to do was make a boring wall look actually sort of interesting. I think I got it. So You see, and then on Friday I thought, oh, what shall I paint? So there you go, I painted those over the weekend. There you go.
Yeah, just rustled them out.
24, 102nd Battalion, 105th Line Infantry. They're cobbled together out of spare parts, or spare hairy sprues. But so I have no drummer. He's dead somewhere. So and I have to.
No horse this time, mine.
Good.
No what?
No horse. Go for a horse.
No horse. You said horse, right?
Yeah, horse.
Horse. Yeah, no. I have got some, but I don't. I kept them out of this one. I thought I'd use some of these plastics. So, and now I might as well show you what I'm working on, because we're going to have a game tomorrow night, hopefully. So with Haley. So this is what I think Dom and Kai's are going. I think I've shown you guys this before, but it's going to make an appearance in the battle. Oh, there you go. It has a pile of dead French.
Hey, good thing too.
There you go. And I actually thought of a use for this, rather than it just being a piece of scenery. So this has got some. I'm painting this up because this is going to have some rules attached to it. I've got some other little bits. So I've got a little scenario that's hopefully. Someone's just said Coldplay are our generation's dad rock. Sorry, that's just distracted me completely from. I don't know how I feel about that.
I'm not even going to get into this because oh well, no, whatever. I'm not even going to start on this.
No, is it? No, that's what I've been.
You must have seen some of the crap that I post on Facebook and what I listen to. So I probably haven't got the moral high ground here when it comes to music.
I have to say, some of the stuff you put up, I have to go and Google immediately to work out what the hell you're talking about, because it's just so bizarre. So yeah, it's and sometimes
I like bands where you have to look at the band name like a magic eye picture to try and work out.
And do you know what? A lot of the time, my antivirus stops me from going to the site because they think it's dodgy. So you know.
Music is music in general is great. There we go.
Yeah, we'll agree on that one.
There we go.
Music is good.
No, damn it. I hate music.
Oh, shut up, you.
You hate music?
Yeah, I grew up with my dad being a DJ, and it drove me fucking insane.
Oh.
If I have to listen to the Bee Gees or UB40 once more, I'm going to blur top.
Now I know what you get for Christmas. So.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh yes.
No, I don't mind. I don't mind music. That was a gag at work, and this is not a joke, right? This is a little bit of a sidetrack there. But for 2 or 3 years, I kept up at work that I hated music. Like, anyone ever got on my van, I used to turn the radio off, never listen to it, and I always pick it up, right? And then one day it just come out, and I was driving down, did an audio record clip. There's me listening to some music, and they were all like fucking gobsmacked. I'm actually listening to tunes. Because I used to just absolutely go off mad and go like, yeah, if I was Prime Minister, I'd get rid of all music, nightclubs, anything that made people happy, just get rid of it all. Fucking hate it.
What's your name, Cromwell?
I was going to say, I was just thinking he should be a Puritan when you play English Civil War.
I was like, I don't mind a bit of classic, bit of orchestra. But I wound them up for like, that was like a 2.5 year, 3 year gag. Oh my god, it worked so well. And then the day I finally let it go, I was just like, it was like when we started lockdown. I was like, I've got to cheer them up here. Cheer them up. They were absolutely cobs, man. They thought I was winding them up. I actually,
they did really like it.
Yeah, that's a complete. If any of you four are watching this, big up the South Coast networks. Yeah.
That's not something you hear every day. Big up the South Coast.
No, that's a new one on me.
Yeah.
What about you, Dom? What you been doing?
I have to say, I have been burning through the troops like unbelievable. I don't know what's been going on. I finished off.
Quick at painting the buggers, isn't you, Dom?
When I get going,
the
yeah,
troops,
I am.
You're so quick.
Yeah, I just whistle through them. I did a 24-man battalion of Spanish Napoleonics, the ones when they're wearing sort of the British copied uniforms. So they're, unlike the early period where all sort of whites and what have you, these are blue, and they're really nice figures. They're some of those offensive miniature figures that I don't know whether you've seen them on the website. Beautiful figures, and in fact, I bought them last Christmas by my daughters, and I got around to painting them, so I thought I'd better do them before this Christmas. So that was them. I've also done 24 Portuguese, just because they perform so well in my black powder armies. I thought I'd better do some more. That's a joke, they're always crap. And I've just about finished another 24 Cacadors. And then when I just about finished that, congratulating myself for finally getting through all my backlog of Portuguese figures, I found another 24, so I thought I'd better do them as well, so I'll start them off fairly soon. And in between that, I did some goblins. Did my... oh, God, how good are Atlantis miniature figures? They're just so gorgeous. On a whim, I bought some goblins from them, and they are just so lovely. Even a fairly basic...
Have you done any work this week?
Yeah, I've done that. I've had you know what? I've had a really busy week this week as well. It's lockdown. I couldn't do anything else, so, you know. Although I did replace all my fences and then knackered my hands doing it, but there you go. And now today I'm doing train. So I'm doing in honour of Ste, I guess. These are... You'd turn these into bases, Ste, that you would with these.
Oh, nice.
These are... I don't know what they are. Resin ruin type buildings. So I'm just doing them just for something to do, really. So yeah, it's been a busy old week, really, figure-wise. I didn't realise quite how many are done. But I'm going to try and do this. I thought I'm going to piss everybody off with the War Games Anonymous challenge. We should do core troops. So I started off doing the one Portuguese battalion. That was going to be the one I was doing. Then I realised I had this other one, so I thought, oh, I'll do that, make it 2. Then I found the third one. I thought, well, I'll make it 3. So I'm going to end up doing 3 battalions. It's like, so I'll probably be thrown out of the Discord for that. But anyway, there you go. That's what I've been up to.
I can't wait to get my 6 mils on the go and actually be able to complete one of those challenges. Like within a day, it would be so nice.
Yeah, but you've got to do the equivalent. So you just got to do an army.
Yeah.
No. They just say that in terms and conditions.
Yeah.
I want to see that. You're getting to add it in now. Yep. Any 6 mil entry must be.
Speaking of 6 mil, I know you guys. I sent that thing on the chat. Have you anyone else, or I know Dom, you took a quick look at it. That 6 mil Kickstarter for the Samurai 2d6 is one. I'm really. Have you seen? I had to look at the sculpt properly. Have you seen the Horsemen?
Yeah.
They are stunning. For 6 mil. I mean, like backers now, they all make really lovely models, but the Samurai Horsemen look amazing. Have a look at them.
Yeah.
It's a Kickstarter that's going, and obviously it's not the. I've been off Kickstarters for a while, but I was looking at that going, well, it's a relatively low investment for quite a lot of models. It comes with scenery as well. It's got lots of little Japanese buildings and like the Dragon Gate, the Torii Gates, Dragon Gate. I'm talking about the Torii Gates, and you've got the warrior monks, Ashigiri, Samurai.
Yeah,
it's a really nice little set of models in there. So I might seriously, and as you saying, I always said to you guys, if I do 6 mil, I'd be tempted by Samurai. And you were saying you were worried about painting Samurai armor. So
yeah, I mean, it's the one thing I've never played any sort of Samurai. I've never had any Samurai figures. I've never played them because I've always been put off by painting them. But I have to say, I have at the moment clicked on that. Kickstarter, and I'm probably going to get them because I thought, A, as you say, they look fantastic. B, for as you say, I can buy a little army for very little, and it'll be easy to paint. More importantly, so,
he's done some rules as well.
Oh, is he?
And I mean, he's done rules. Yeah, there's a free rules that are coming with it as well. So, I mean, obviously people can use what they like, but I think if someone can releases a range, if they can support it with some rules, it'll always. Do a little bit better. So yeah, that's might be worth checking out. I actually can't remember what it's called. I think it's just simply called Samurai 6 mil.
Yeah. Like that. What's the sort of price you're looking at to get in then?
40 quid for. Well, no, you can get in at 5 quid and then just pick what you want at the end. But 40 quid gets you a decent amount of
army,
stuff. Hang on, I'll have a quick look because I've got it saved on my phone. For the inevitable 6 mil Samurai by 2d6 figures, scenics, and rules. So, and they've already gone through all their stretch goals. He wasn't looking for a great deal when you compare it to some Kickstarters, and he was looking for 1,000, and he's raised nearly 5. So you know,
That's good.
he's a kind of small. He does World War II stuff already, and he's got a small YouTube channel as well. So 25 quid will get you, for example, a rebellion thing. So it gets you 30 strips of 4 figures, which includes Ashigiri archers, monk archers, Ashigiri gunners, monk gunners, pole arms, Ashigiri standards, buildings it comes with. So, but for this one I saw, 39 quid. There you go, Samurai Captain. A medium-sized army.
That's the one I went for.
Yeah, so it comes with 3 units of Ashigiri archers, 1 unit of monk archers, 4 units of Ashigiri gunners, 2 samurai gunners, another monk gunners, 6 palisades, 14 Ashigiri pikes, 6 samurai spears, 1 unit of monks with pole arms, retainers, 2 Ashigiri captains, 1 samurai captains, Ashigiri standard bearers ×5, monk standard bearers ×1, mounted samurai messengers, mounted samurais with spears, mounted warrior monks, mounted samurai captains, 4 cannons and crew, a medium village house, another medium village house, a large village house, and a small village house, and the A and Banzai Age of the Country at War version 3 PDF, and it ships in February.
Yeah, that's the one I went for.
That sounds really good, actually.
It's a good deal.
I think for 40 quid, yeah.
Like you say, and also you get the buildings, you get the rules. I thought that's a really good deal. Really good deal.
Yeah.
The figures do look awesome.
And so, yeah, to be fair, so sorry, I know someone's just said that. So anyone who's looking for it, or it's just called 6mm Samurai, a 2d6 Wargaming. And he's in there. It's 43 people back. It's got 7 days left on it. So,
come and join the 6mm club. It's a great club.
Well, I just think that all those, I don't know the proper term for it, but the flags on their backs would look awesome at 6mm if you just got loads and loads of ranks.
I agree. I'm with you. Yeah, I'm with you. I thought that's exactly what got me in the end. When I looked at them, I thought, oh, yeah. I mean, even at that scale, that would look fantastic laid out, wouldn't it? Yeah.
If you're doing it, Dom, then I definitely will then, because then I'll have an opponent. So,
exactly.
have to do exactly, and if we're both getting a load of buildings with it, that would be
awesome. Perfect.
That would be awesome. Got like a whole town. Yeah, he does. On his website, he sells walls as well, whole city walls.
Oh wow!
You'd be able to print them, Dom.
Well, yeah, exactly. I love it. I'm gonna. Yeah, I'm kind of interested by that. So I'm still slightly nervous about painting them because I've never. I don't think I've painted 6mm in about 30 years, maybe 20. No, maybe about 20 years. But and also still quite. You want to make them look good even at that scale. But yeah, it should be fun. We'll give it a go. What's the worst that can happen, eh?
Yeah. That's what Modelling for Advantage has just said. He said he can't get behind the pillowcases on their backs. They're for stopping their arrow catchers, aren't they? To stop messengers would have them.
That's right. Yeah.
You know, just like these giant pillowcases. So it doesn't do much if you just ride them towards people, though, does it?
No, that's true.
This is very true.
Sashimono, apparently. I don't know whether it's just insulting me, but that's what Paul says.
Okay.
Sashimono. That's the thing, you'll have to start learning all the lingo, won't you? And all the terms. I do quite like that.
Russian quillet, yeah.
Sorry, carry on.
Sorry, no, go. You go. Go on.
No, I'm just going to say I am hankering after a new period of something different to do. So I kind of like the idea of that. Although I am worried about an opponent. So the fact you're doing it makes me feel right. Okay, I can justify it now.
Yeah.
I might get one game a year in.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, we'll paint it or do that one game and go, right, they can go back in the box now. That entirely justifies that expenditure.
Exactly.
Don't worry, 6mm. I'll probably get involved if it's 6mm. You know what I'm like.
Brilliant. I'll send you the link, Ken.
Send him the link.
I'll send you the link.
I promise I won't get involved. You didn't say nothing about Kickstarters.
Technically, it won't be here till next year, so you know.
We're good.
Brush and Quill. I kind of feel like he's throwing down a bit of a challenge. He goes. I want to do it at 54mm to get the detail in on a samurai.
I just know. Have you seen that armor? I mean, Jesus Christ, painting that properly. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, no.
Do you know, I thought about this, like bigger scale games. The only game I would consider doing bigger scale is that little firefight game you had, Martin.
Oh yeah, the one where I got absolutely annihilated in my last game and therefore we've had a couple of weeks off.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah. I lost by the end of the second turn. No, sorry, I didn't even get to the end of the second turn. Because we found out, I actually found the rules for morale, and there's actually a break point for your models. And mine was 6, and just machine guns are brutal. They're just brutal. And we were playing, obviously, because we were just playing, a what if. So we were playing 8th Army against Paras. And he just came down to priority, and he got his I'm sure it was he got his brain gun set up, and it just laid waste to like 3 of my guys who were like trying to run across the street. They just got completely taken out. And then on top of that, we haven't tried it yet, but I know the MG42 is even more powerful. So you definitely feel it. But we were playing at nearly full points, which is about 800 points, and I had 9 miniatures.
Oh wow!
Really.
I like the sound of that.
My sniper cost 145 points, so they are. He also he didn't kill anyone. He shot someone, missed, and then got mercilessly bayoneted when he revealed where he was.
I love it. The badges were called Mon, apparently.
Oh, cool.
Paul knows all about this stuff, clearly. Right, before we move on, we had a couple of questions in. In fact, somebody sent one in earlier, and before I lose it, oh God, where was it? The chat's gone bananas between people burning effigies of Ste and going on about war basing.
Well, what have I done now?
About you hating all the
like
bands.
Oasis, I think.
Yeah. Oh, I can't find it now. Friggin' hell.
Back in anger.
Never mind.
My chat's much the same.
I can't find it now. Oh, bugger. I'll try and find it in a bit. But let's do the other questions that we had in. So, actually, Leslie had a really good one, which I thought was a really good idea, or one's question about. It's around... do you make your own washes and inks, or do you just use the commercial ones? Any thoughts?
Good question.
Steve,
I tend to use commercial ones for consistency.
Sorry, carry on.
I use commercial ones, but I mix them together. So my favourite wash for armour is Agrax Earthshade, Athonian Camo Shade, and Reichland Flesh Shade, all mixed in.
Right.
Into one big thing. Throw a bit of water, a bit of Larmian medium into it, and splash that all over a vehicle, and it's just, especially if it's a green armoured vehicle, works really well. But no, I'm lazy. I just buy chemical washes.
What about you, Martin?
I tend to use just store-bought ones because I want the consistency. I want to pick up a wash and generally know what it's going to be like. My problem is if I'm doing that's if I'm like bulk painting or production line painting.
Yeah.
If I was painting like a single miniature, like Wild West Exodus, where you're just painting like a single character and it doesn't, there is no overall color scheme, then I might mix them a bit or try and do some mix and washes.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter. But if you're trying to replicate a scheme, I'd rather just use something that's presumably gone through some kind of quality control.
Yeah. What about you, Ken? You a shop man or a mix man?
No, it's a bit of a weird one because I don't know what you would class as washes. So like the contrast paints, they're obviously more paint, but I tend to find myself using this technical contrast medium and thinning them out if I've got certain colours, and I might use them as a wash.
Right.
And also normal paint. So like say I want this red, for example, I might use a medium to thin that out as well. But I tell you one thing I not do very often anymore is actually use washes straight out of the bottle. I tend to now, especially doing these Napoleonics and working with white, I tend to thin them down about 50-50 at least now. especially the army painter tone. So like the dark tone, I did a Nolan Oil 6 and I did 6 with dark tone, and definitely the dark tone definitely gives you a glossier finish compared to a Nolan Oil. That is a very flat matte, so I wasn't happy with them looking different. So I preferred the glossier finish, so I went over the dark tone stuff with a really thinned down. The Nolan Oil stuff over with the dark tone because I think it just looked better. But it was as good because it didn't make the white go really dark because it was thin. So I do play about with them, but I don't purposely go out and make 5 litres of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because there are, I mean, Luke, the guy who does Luke's APS, Geek Gaming, he has some videos on his channel about how to make your own Nolan Oil and all these sort of things. And I look at it and I think, yeah, that's really cool, but it's just like it's effort. Just real effort. I'm not sure I can really be asked to do it. Even though I know it would probably save a fair... But then how often do you... I mean, I do go through a fair bit of shades, but even then, and even the quantity of figures I'm producing, I'm not having to buy it like every week. It's, every few months or so, or if I'm in normal times when you're in a show, I just pick up a bottle and that'll keep me going. But so I'm kind of, although I did just last week buy my first, I made my first one, and that was only because I was watching a video and I can't remember who did it, but it's one of these big YouTubers, with a couple of 5 or 6,000. I don't know. Was it Sledgehammer? Is that one of them? I can't remember. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Sledgehammer Studios.
Yeah, I think it was him, and he talked about this this wash that somebody else on a blog had come up with for doing British redcoats and having a decent wash over them. And I thought, well, I got some English. Oh, there was some more. I did some American War of Independence British because of this wash that he'd created, and he went through the recipe, and I thought, well, I've got all bar one of those already, so I mixed it all up and brought the other one in, and actually it's really effective. So that's the first one I've ever done that. I think he called it ink. No, he called it... I can't remember now, but anyway, it was the first one I've ever done that with, and it was kind of effective. But I like the consistency I get with the shop stuff. To me, and I'm lazy. I haven't got the time.
I did do it once with 40k with my Rubik Marines. I made like a purpley wash up. I used their purple, but I also stuck another 2 different colours in. I couldn't tell you what the consistency was now, but I remember at the time saying I need to wash these in. I need to do a big batch, and even if I go over, because I can't get it different, so I had to overindulge in wash. Like make more than what I needed, because I knew for a fact I wouldn't be able to make it the same again.
Yeah.
And I knew that they would be unique. But yeah, I did do it once. It wasn't too bad actually.
That's the biggest thing with any of those sort of things, isn't it? The consistency. I think it's just making sure that it's like when people mix their own paints and what have you, and shades and what have you. It's a bit I've struggled with the most is making sure that at least that same regiment looks the same, even if it doesn't look exactly the same as other ones in the army. It's that one does look the same.
Miller's just asked a question sort of about washes, because he's painting up his Uruk-hai at the moment, and they've got like a black metallic armor.
Yeah.
So how would we do that? I would just use Leadbelcher or a darker silver, and then I've used Black Templar over it.
Yeah. Maybe
a couple of times. Just to get it, just that dulls it down. I've used that in my Wars of the Roses stuff where I want to get that like German European armor. The
Black Templar does really well for going over a metallic. Really works really well. Gets right in the recesses as well. Try not to slather it on too thick though, because then you can completely obscure some of the detail because it all sits in the recesses. But thinner coats of it, innit? See, I find that as well. I use contrast paints, and I'm getting to work with them quite well now. And I'm finding, you could slather it all in one thick coat, but you end up with a lot of like streaks and stuff. I find to use it like in a smaller sort of thing, like I've done with these drummer boys. You can't really see the detail, but in the middle it's flat. It's just a clean yellow, but around the edges, with the like the iron yellow. I don't know if you've used it, Martin or Dom or Steve.
I've got that one.
It gives you like an orangey sort of tinge, red sort of tinge on the where it builds up, and it's done that around like on the edges, and it looks really sweet, really nice. But if I went in really thick, it'd all just be that colour.
I think for that Urukai thing, it depends what you're looking for. If you want them really shiny and sort of clean looking, then I think that's good. But the other one, if you're doing armour, sort of metal armour, and I do a sort of whatever I've done underneath, and I've got the sort of silvery effect over the top, I'll then use, which is the browner one, Nuln Oil, is that the one? No. Agrats is the earthy one, isn't it?
Agrats.
Yeah.
And I find that if you put a thin layer of that over it, it makes it, when it dries, it looks like they're just sort of slightly rusty or dirty, which I think for those sort of, when I did my orcs, that's what I did with them, because I just like that sort of dirty, grimy look that I wanted off the figures. And I thought that worked really well, but it's each their own, isn't it? It's whatever you fancy. But,
yeah. Yes, Miller. That's a contrast paint. Yes. Yeah. Black Templars is a contrast paint.
Black Templar. Yeah.
Other people have said Basilicanium grey over metallics. Yeah, that's what I tend to do for bog standard armor anyway.
Yeah.
Dry brushing lead belcher over black gives you a great black armor look. If you just want to go, that's what I used to do for ages actually, and then I tried just going doing it the other way, which is starting with a metallic base and then working backwards. I just seem to prefer that one. Don't know why.
Yeah, I copied your approach. You did one of those videos of medieval stuff, didn't you, where you were showing doing armour and you did all the different contrast paints on different bases, and I thought that's really cool. So I've copied basically what you did there, and I think it works really nicely. So
that was I know exactly which video. That was a really lazy video I did when I couldn't think of anything to do. So I just turned the camera on and just paint myself slavering contrast paints over these things, and then it still gets quite a lot of people. It still gets quite a lot of views and quite a lot of comments, and people saying, "Oh, this, I like this one," or "Go for this one," or "I like the card," because I did 6, I think.
Yeah.
Like just trying them, like just using the Basilicanium grey straight. It gave it like a bit of a cartoony look.
Yeah.
And I still get comments on that one, just saying, "Oh, I've done it nearly a year ago. I've kind of changed what I'm doing now. Maybe I need to do an update."
Oh, well, I don't care. I copied it, and I use a lot of the techniques, and I agreed with you. I thought some of them worked really well. Some look really, it did look a bit sort of a bit comedy kind of thing, but others look really good. Even then, I used I can't remember which one. It was the one that sort of has that goldy effect. I can't remember which. Oh, was it the used? Was it Agrex?
I used Gore-Grunt of Fur. It was Gore-Grunt of Fur. It gave it like a burnished look. I chucked that on. Like I tried to do at least one model in each of my War of the Roses units with just some burnished armor, because or some burnished chainmail. That's quite if you've got the nice silver armor, and then you can do the burnishing on the chainmail. It breaks the model up a little bit. And in fact, I've been doing that. Obviously, this is going on for these. Not about the armor, but if I say do Basilicanium grey, for example, over the whole model, I might pick out the chainmail in a different contrast paint to help break it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Which that can be a.
I think it's good. Well, there you go. If you're bored you've got nothing else to do a video, I'll do an update of that because I quite enjoyed that. If nothing else. So I found the question. It was from Graham Fennell. He said he had a question. How do you choose the size of your armies for black powder?
I've got a video on this coming up.
Hey?
I've got a video on this coming up.
All right, we won't answer then. We'll just watch Ken's video.
No. But I am going to do one because I did my introduction sort of thing. I was literally in the next part. I was going to go over battalions, different battalions, brigades, how to make a brigade, how many I'm going to do for my army to make my army in total, what you can do for the different scales. But we can answer it. This is the short version.
Go on then. You have the floor.
Thank you very much. I have got it on underneath, lads. It is there, just in case I get a bit hot. I think 2 seconds, just 2 seconds.
That's horrific. You're wearing the English king's colours over the top of like a French colonel's. That's got to be some kind of
Well,
oh my god.
Tonight, Matthew, I'm gonna be Napoleon.
I think I preferred the other one.
So yeah, basically how I'm going to do it is I have decided I'm going to go with an elite brigade. I'm going to go with a pure French brigade, just normal line, and I'm also going to go with a foreign units, so like Italian and Swiss and stuff like that. But I'm going to make three separate brigades, and that's going to make my army. So I think 3 is a good number because it's good because you can still play it on a 6x4.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing, Ryan? You laughing at it?
Yes, I'm laughing at that.
What are you laughing at?
Someone in the comments is writing strip, strip, strip.
No, we do not.
No is exactly what I've just put back.
Oh, come on, lads, this isn't Twitch, behave.
Martin, can you control Hayley, please? We don't want that now.
I'll try and ask her to get herself under control. She has had a glass of wine.
Oh god. Right. So yeah, I think 3 brigades is good because for the simple fact of the matter is you can still play 3 brigades on a 6x4. Yeah, it's a bit tight, but you could leave a battalion out of each. But when you play like on an 8x4 or an 8x5 or 7x5, it's quite a nice amount of room, and a lot of us are going to be playing on a 6x4. So I'm going to try and keep it along the French doctrine. I will have 4 battalions in my French brigade. So I'll do the only way I'll do it like Martin does because I thought it was a really good idea. Go on GMB flags and pick 2 lots and just go with those 4 because they all fought together. You can even go in and get all 4 that were in the same corps, can't you? So you can look at the same corps and you can put all 4 of them. That's another way to do a bit of history there. Watch. What is it? What's that? Oh Christ! That series I keep talking about and Steve showed about. What's that on?
Oh, not the Little Wars, the other one, the History Channel thing.
Epic History TV.
Epic History TV. Go and check that out. So for that, I'm going to do 4 line battalions of infantry, and I will do a set of cannons, so a battery of cannons. Battery of cannons again can be up to you. You could either do 2, you could do 3, or you could do 4. Victrix comes in 3s, so I do it in 3s. Might represent with half batteries being 2 or 1, depending on how I feel at the time. So that'd be 1 brigade along with the colonel. And then for the elites, I'm going to go with 4 again. So 2 old guard and 1 middle guard and 1 young guard.
Mm-hmm.
And I will go again with a battery of cannon, guard cannon for that. I was thinking about going cannon or cavalry, but not too sure. Really not sure. But I think I'm going to go cannon because my third option, like infantry-wise, is going to be my foreign units. And again, I'm going to do 2 Italian. I might even do 4 Italian. I'm not sure. It's either going to be 2 Italian and 2 Swiss, and have a colonel in that. But I'm not too sure. If I do 2 and 2, I guess if I want to expand further, I can make another 2 Italian, another 2 Swiss. Because like I've learned, you basically just keep building on what you've got, I guess. Because if there's an odd unit, like if there's like 2 Italians, I'm going to want to make that 4 Italians to make up the brigade. Mm-hmm. And if there's 2 Swiss, I'm going to want to make 4 Swiss to make up the brigade. So it's just going to keep adding stuff on. And then once all that's done, I will do a cavalry brigade, which will be 3 troops of cavalry. That'll be it. But that's an extra. That is an added on extra. Or you could do it instead of one of the line battalions. But I think I just prefer the infantry and the black powder rules because I've used the cavalry and they're not all that.
That's because you weren't using them right.
I was using them on the flanks and trying to get Dom to form square.
He actually, you know what, Martin? He played the game. We played the game we had the other week, which you'll see a video of at some point. He actually used his cavalry really well.
Did he? All right then.
He sacrificed them beautifully. There was none left by the end of it, but he did a good job of holding me up. You know, I'm not sure necessarily the way he used his cavalry would endear him to real cavalrymen, but they were effective. I'll give him that. There you go.
They actually had a use, didn't they, Dom?
They did. But yeah,
if you want to see,
carry on.
Sorry, I was going to say, if you want to see like an action with some cavalry that actually came off, and it wasn't really meant to. That game where we were playing over a bridge, and I brought my cavalry on and just charged them at a ford. Okay, we'll forget the 95th, but yeah. And the cuirassiers and the lancers just powered through. The lancers somehow managed to power their way through. The British units were there and just started and found themselves marooned in front of 3 British lines that just peppered them because they didn't have to form square because the move just ended.
Yeah.
They weren't charging any of those units, and so they just found themselves sitting ducks, but they survived. So I had this one unit, and it didn't go to another turn. But yeah, sometimes cavalry can surprise you.
Very similar situation, Ed.
I think cavalry in a lot of those sort of scale games, it's the same with sharp practice. They're really not that effective, and I do think they do need to. Some rules just do downplay them rather a lot. Like I talked about him before now, but JP, his channel does Napoleonic stuff, and I think he used General de Brigade. Is that the system? And he did a battle the other day, which I thoroughly recommend. It's 3-parters. It went on for ages, but it's had a lot of cavalry involved in it. I think it was Peninsula Battle. I think it was Victor. I don't know. It was based on a real battle, but anyway, I can't remember which one it was. But and the cavalry really played a part, and I thought, I really missed that in a rule system, because I think in Black Powder, Sharp Practice, the cavalry it's more of a nuisance than a potential battle winner.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, though. I don't think, and modelling for Clive has just said on here, it's important to realise that they're there as a strategic asset rather than a tactical one.
It's
like,
true.
They can, if you can put cavalry on a flank, then your opponent will get worried, because if he doesn't move to do something about them, then they're stuffed. Because the cavalry you need to. I don't think I've ever been in a game where I've managed to put cavalry out and no one has actually defended or put something to oppose them. Yeah. I've never had cavalry sort of running free, so they do have that kind of going for them, because no one's ever going to leave a unit of cuirassiers to just run rampant across the battlefield, or allow them to get it. So, but then I don't paint up enough cavalry to really have massive cavalry games, so maybe that's why.
Yeah, and I don't think the scale really works. Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say I used 2 troops of them, didn't I? And quite a lot of them, weren't there?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's right. Kaiser's right. I mean, it was a strategic asset, and many generals didn't want to waste their cavalry because horseflesh was hard to get hold of, especially in the middle of a war. So they didn't want to waste it. But the same token, there was 2 distinct functions for cavalry, wasn't there? There was the battle cavalry, the cuirassiers, the heavy dragoons, those sort of things, who were designed to dominate the battlefield. That's what their role was. It was the light cavalry that had that sort of strategic scouty role, that you didn't want to lose your light cavalry, else you couldn't find the enemy next time, or you couldn't find where you were going next time. So yeah, I agree to a point, but anyway, whatever. But I think cavalry a little bit underappreciated. My in the 2 rules I mainly play, which is let's say it's Sharp Practice and Black Powder. Although, funny enough, in Pike and Shot, cavalry is a little bit more effective. If you win the cavalry battle in the English Civil War games, you could start riding down infantry quite easily, unless they got lots of pike to hide behind. But even then, you can literally stop any attacks, because the infantry just can't deal with it. Whereas I find in Black Powder, even the cavalry running around, they just sort of, they get blown away, because their stamina's quite low. So they get hit a couple of times by some infantry, even in square, and it's good night Vienna, and they pull back. But anyway, that doesn't answer the question Graham was asking. It's me rambling, personal bet noirs. What about you, Martin? Because you've got loads and loads of things. Do you set up just randomly building units you fancy in Black Powder, or do you follow a historical template? Or
I started following a historical template for Waterloo, based around the assault on La Haye-Sainte. So I kind of got all those units, and then I just kind of thought, I'm never gonna replay this battle in full. Yeah. So I just kind of got. I get the idea. I buy what I want. I build what I want.
Yeah.
And then I form it into. I don't have one set army. I form armies from my collection.
Yeah.
But that's because I've got the benefit of having 15 odd line battalions that I can pick from, and you know, if I for example, I'm doing the Italians. I know like Ken is, and I am going to do a complete brigade of Italians. So I'll do three line battalions, one skirmish, one in skirmish formation. I'll probably do a battery and then a colonel, and that'll be my Italian brigade. No, I just kind of, it's like those ones there. Those ones that I just painted up because I had the 105th flag, the 2nd Battalion flag, so I just painted those. And because you can never really have enough line. I mean, 4 units if you're playing Black Powder in the brigade is probably about right.
Yeah.
4 or 5. Any less than that, and then the brigade might not be particularly effective if you lose one, and then any more than that, and you run the risk of half your troops not being able to activate. No, I mean, I kind of look at things like I'm still trying to finish the Union Brigade. I wanted to do that.
Yeah.
So some famous formations I tried to do. I want to do the Red Lancers, Napoleon's Red Lancers, but they always deploy as a large unit, so I'd have to paint by my own basing scheme. I'd have to do about 18 of them, and that makes me feel a bit sick.
That's a lot of Lancers.
It's a lot of horses.
Yeah, true.
So
you got there, don't you?
No, I don't. Well, no, because I want to use the Victory. Because what happened was I bought enough Lancers to do it from Warlord using their Polish Lancer set. I was going to add some bits to make them, because the Red Lancers are Dutch, and there's an Imperial Guard unit. And then Victrix went and previewed their lovely Lancer set a week later. And so that's why I've got those Polish Lancers just sitting there, because no offense to those figures, they're the Lancers and I like the Warlord cavalry figures, but those Victrix Lancers,
they're not the Victrix.
Are the ones that don't. They're not. And if you're painting up the Red Lancers of the Imperial Guard, you want those models. Maybe I'm wrong, but you know, I haven't actually bought those Lancer models yet to actually do them, because I've got so much on painting.
Why don't you sell the Polish ones?
Because I could paint those as normal Lancers and have three units of normal Lancers, and then get the other ones anyway.
You're not going to do that.
Yeah, but I could paint them and then sell them and probably make a little bit more. But
this is true. You can sell them to me, actually.
I was thinking about painting up one, and then I was thinking about doing a giveaway with another one. I have got an awful lot of cavalry. So I might do a giveaway.
You know, that's the only disappointing thing with Victrix. The only one thing, they do 60 infantry. Maybe they should do 60 cavalry per pack.
God.
Owen Douglas of mine says he thinks a rules of cavalry that affects deployment would help, in that you'd have a reason to take them beyond the actual combat impact.
That's
what.
Very good idea.
Yeah, you know that system I keep on harping on about that I really want to play against you guys, Fire and Sword.
Mm-hmm.
You get, depending on the cavalry in that, they give you a certain amount of recon points, and you and your opponent total up your recon points, and whoever has the most gets to effectively do things on the battlefield, because they've made it their first. They get to maybe move the terrain around, or they can do a forced march or something like that, or put some obstacles out.
Nice.
So the cavalry have another role, which is quite cool. So yeah, that's a good point.
Infamy does a similar-ish, well, not that thing, but it you know, how many cavalry or light infantry you have influences quite a lot of things in the early part of the game in that deployment phase, and it's one of the things I do like about Infamy, because I think that's a really clever system for, as you say, you might just take cavalry or a unit of cavalry, even though they're not. I mean, they're reasonably effective in that game from what I've seen, but they're very effective if you want to shut down deployment ambush points and that sort of thing. So you've got to have some just for that reason. So I like that.
That's cool. Nick Games has said on here, one interesting rule would be to have one light cavalry for each side starting around on the table to try and scout the player's army formation before deployment. Maybe you could use that as a way for who has to deploy first. Have a little cavalry off, standoff.
Yeah, I like that.
And then whoever loses has to deploy first.
Yeah, I like that. That's really cool.
There
was an ancient set that did that. I'm sure there was.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was now. Is it Meg? I think it might be. Someone like that. There's a rule set that does that sort of thing. And depending on how the effective pre-match goes...
It's Meg, yeah.
Meg, I think it is, yeah. And I thought that was really cool.
Oh. Yeah, no, actually, Brush and Quilla said you could use partisans. See, now it's starting to go Spanish partisans doing the same kind of thing.
Oh my god.
Oh, there's so many possibilities. I might do something like that in our next War of the Roses game, because we wanted to have just a massive pitch battle using all our figures. But, so maybe, because we've both got light cavalry, so maybe we could have some kind of light cavalry action first.
You could do a skirmish game with the light cavalry, maybe.
Yeah.
Sort of have I don't know whether some decent rule system that does skirmish game for that period. Or you could use maybe bill hooks, something like that.
Yeah, and then play out the results in using Hail Caesar that we're doing. I've done that before, sort of mixing systems. So that's quite.
That would work. I think it'd be quite fun to do that. I do like those sort of things. I think that would allow cavalry to sort of play a bit more of a role. I mean, some systems, they are very powerful and very useful. And and I get the point that they weren't always. But, you can't... Anybody's into Napoleonics gets very excited about things like, the Ney's cavalry charge at Waterloo and, mass cavalry used at Austerlitz and that sort of thing. I mean, that's one of the exciting things, right? And it doesn't really happen.
Charging,
doesn't really happen. But anyway,
sorry, I'll just one bit. What rules? Because we've chatted about sort of like before about sort of the rules in Black Powder, like adopting. Which rules do you use for forming square? Do you use the ones in the main rulebook?
Yeah, we do.
Because we did that for ages, and then we tried out the other one, which is just forming square on a straight up order test.
Right.
So that like units that are less well led might not form square. So cavalry do tend to maybe charge home a little bit more.
Yeah.
It kind of made that difference between raw crap troops, which we thought would represent the Hanoverians, but they always ended up forming square, and then like the bloody Coldstream Guards wouldn't, or something like that, and then they'll get but that works quite well. We found it's one of the
thing is, I think that's a weird one, isn't it? Because I think, having said, I don't think cavalry got much of a role in Black Powder. I think, again, if you read the histories of those sort of periods, it was so rare for a square to be broken by cavalry, and generally it was because, like you say, the commanders did something stupid, or they'd been broken up by artillery, or were effectively surprised in some way. It was so rare for it to happen that it was almost noteworthy when it did happen. So I wouldn't want a rule system that sort of allowed it to happen sort of on a fairly regular basis, even if that was the way of making cavalry strong. You see what I mean? Because I just think it just didn't happen. It just very, very rarely happened. Was there I think one battalion of British troops in the entire Napoleonics, I may have this wrong, was broken by cavalry. It's that kind of order of magnitude. Rare. I think the French had it a couple of times, and that was about it. So it just didn't happen. But yeah, I don't know. Cavalry. I don't know. They're so lovely. They're so lovely to paint and so nice to look at. He said, laughing. Don't know about lovely to paint.
Lovely to paint.
Lovely to get on the table. But yeah, I do. I think for me, the whole thing about a Black Powder army, or even pretty much any army, is I like to have a sort of a vision of what I want out of it. So I'll generally follow something. Even the bolt action armies, I'll tend to have a formation in mind when I'm making it, at least initially. I want it to be 31st Panzer Grenadier, whatever it is, and I'll try and build it first to match that, and then I'll expand and get lots of other figures that allow me to do lots more things. So, you know, same the Cleve Bergs that I'm doing. It's a particular division or brigade within a division in 1812 in the Russian campaign, and so I'm trying to build it according to that. But doesn't mean I won't start adding extra units on top of that. But for me, that's how my model of doing things. I'm sort of toying with a brand new project, which from a completely different period, and I'll do exactly the same thing. And actually, what I'm doing at the moment is the research. I might do a video on this because it might be interesting to people. Maybe it won't, but you know, kind of how I go about thinking about a new project and all the sort of preamble that goes into it, and before I actually even buy any figures.
Steve, you do some World War II stuff, don't like? Obviously, I know you do some World War II stuff. I mean, when you talk about some specific units before, weren't you? I remember.
Yeah, I think it gives the like Dom said, it's good research in the history. So my Stalingrad Germans are based on they're going to be based on the 144th Infantry Regiment, which was an Austrian regiment. They were actually destroyed at Stalingrad and then reformed afterwards. It very painful end for them. But I think just having that backstory and reading up about them. So at the moment, I'm working on these French. At the moment they're just a really generic army. I've not gone in and picked exactly what I want them to be in reality. Same if I use my late war Germans and playing bolt action, they're always based around a Kampfgruppe, Kampfgruppe Becker, which was a mix of different a Kampfgruppe basically, bits and pieces. And I think that's what I like about late war Germans. You can pick and choose, quite a diverse range of different units across different, Fallschirmjäger, SS, here. So there's a good mix there. But no, I do like to have that background to any bolt action forces that I'm working on. I don't really know an awful lot about early wars, which is why I'm enjoying reading up about. I'm currently going through the Battle of Arras. Like I say, I really want to pick out a French infantry regiment that because I'm not really down on my French history. So it's interesting. But like Dom said, immersing yourself in that research really it's an extra dimension to the hobby.
Definitely, and you can do it for all. I mean, I tend to do it more for the Wars of the Roses than anything else. I love finding out because you can find the muster rolls. You can find out how many men at arms the guy brought with him. And then because I've looked into the livery, I've got all these little biographies. I need to do them at some point because I've done one or two on the channel. I was going to do like a whole load of basically building the model and then doing a biography of the man. But there's so many. I love researching because you find out all these funny little things that you can then think of modelling wise that you can do something, like. Clifford was killed at the Battle of Ferrybridge by a headless arrow. Got fired by legend apparently. It tells you that he got killed by a headless arrow through the neck. So you could model that. You could actually do just like this arrow sticking through his neck, but actually take the head off it.
Love it.
The research is brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, there's no right or wrong.
Having watched those,
no.
So I was going to say, having watched those documentaries recently about. There was one about the War of the Roses, and then that 4-part one about the Plantagenets. Bloody hell! That
bit of a dysfunctional.
That was a really just ever so slightly. But I think, like I say, that period. I know you game and model around a lot of that, but there's so many different characters and personalities that really you can. I imagine you could really transfer to the tabletop.
Yeah, that's we found it because we started inventing our own rules because there's no supplement for the Wars of the Roses for Hail Caesar. We've just used Hail Caesar as a base, but we started in the last battle. We looked at their history and just come up with little rules. So we come up with because so many of the families hated each other. We had one family that hated the Nevilles. So if you had a Neville character, then that character would get some re-rolls against them. We had another one who was basically he was he was such a bastard that his men. I can't remember which one it is. My opponent will kill me because I do listen to him. I think it was either Exeter or I think it's Exeter. And basically, his men hated him so much that on a trip back from Calais, he just fell overboard and he didn't make it. But he had one of the racks in the tower was like called Exeter's daughter or something like that because he was so fond of using it. So you find out. So we put that in the rules and basically said that his men were afraid of him, but they also hate him. And so we basically had decided as it's easier for him to order them, but if he does blunder, he blunders hard, and they like you double the effects or something like that. So doing these little bits of research and including them in the game, it really, if you can find a way to do it, there's loads of little things you can do, and it just adds an extra bit to it.
There was certainly a fair few psychopaths back then, weren't there? I mean, every other person to have, I don't know, some kind of manic, I don't know, just this violent trait to them. I don't know whether it was the period, whether it was just a result of generations of inbreeding. Everyone just seemed to be completely loopy. I don't know what it was.
I think people remain that psychotic. It's just that once the Tudor period starts, it became a lot more kind of like underhanded. Although, to be fair, it's not. We get to the Henry VIII, it wasn't particularly.
I was going to say it was fairly blatant, wasn't it?
It wasn't particularly subtle at that point, was it? No, I think you're right. I don't know, but it is all just family. It is just like the Plantagenets. It's just one giant family squabble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think all this stuff for me, and it sounds like for you guys too, it really brings it to life. I know it's not for everybody, and it doesn't make it right or wrong, but that's the beauty of the hobby, isn't it? That you can have somebody who basically just builds an army however they want, and then somebody else who's this is a particular formation, and it doesn't. Yeah. Most rules doesn't really matter. It just in your head, it's still like. The only thing is, I don't know about you, I then get sort of very attached to a particular unit because I've particularly invested in the history of that unit, that formation. And so I don't want that one to die.
Yeah. Well, you get attached to them and then you find out something horrendous actually happened to them in history, or they turned traitor or something. Like you spend all this time and you can doing some research, and then it's like doing family research. You find out you got a relative that got like done for like sheep rustling or something like that. No, I know. Yeah, I know what you mean. Definitely, I get very attached to my Wars of the Roses unit.
I have done with my 9th Light Infantry for the French for some reason. I don't know why. I just have. The 9th. Don't ask me why. But I really don't want them to die in a game. And the 28th. Oh my god, the 28th. I do not want them to ever die. No, is it 28th or the 30th?
No, he doesn't even know. Look, how can you own them?
No, it's your models, isn't it? It's your models. The 28th are your models, mine. If I ever play with them, they are like heroes.
They did well. They'll be in tomorrow's game, and
I'll be rooting for him. And
that's fine. That means you'll be rooting for me. That's fine. You can root for me. I'll actually have someone going, "Oh, I hope you win for a change." That'd be nice.
I do. I just want one day for you to be able to destroy the 95th and be a happy man.
Do you know what? I did destroy them. Oh, they're on my side, but I destroyed them.
I just want you to be able to do it.
I don't think that counts.
Haley would be so pissed off. It would be unreal.
I just want to see you humiliated. It's just there's not much to ask for, is it?
I think the guy deserves a break now. I think he needs to win one. I think he needs to win
I won one. I did win one. Well, technically it was a draw because we said that if it's within 1 victory point or 2 victory points, then it's a draw. And then I regretted it because it was me that had the higher point. But no, hopefully, tomorrow should. If it comes off, it'll be. We've got like a scenario of a couple of. It should be interesting. It's not a pitch battle. We've got a bit more of a story, but a mission behind it. So we'll see how that plays out.
We've got like 10 minutes. What? Just quickly, I wanted to ask a question. What war film, would you guys recommend watching this week if someone needs to watch it? I know what I'm gonna recommend straight off the bat.
Fury.
Mine's going to be the longest. No, the longest one possible, which is going to be Gettysburg, because I watched it again this week. That's like the 5th time I've watched it in the last 6 months because it's so good, and it's got my ACW juices flowing like mad.
That sounds disgusting.
I don't want to know about Ken's juices.
Yeah, that does
flowing.
sound quite wrong.
No, you've already been.
That's too much.
General Longstreet, mate. Can't wait to get him on the tabletop. So what film would you guys recommend possibly?
Well, I did my recommendation last week, and then and Steve watched it and said it was fantastic. So I'm just big into at the moment into those sort of weird multinational films that you get on Amazon Prime or Amazon Video. I started to watch one last night.
Great films for that.
There's some absolute stonkers on there, and I mean, if you don't like subtitles, they're a bit annoying sometimes. But you know, so be it. But I was started to watch one the other night, which I need to finish off, and it was about Algerian volunteers in the French army in the Second World War, and it looked really brutal. But I just thought that's sort of bizarre. Like the one that Steve and I watched on the Latvians in the German and then the Russian army was kind of really interesting.
What channel was it? What
they're on Amazon. They're on Amazon Prime. Amazon, whatever it's called.
Yeah, I've got
the video.
What was the film again? What was the film called? The Latvian one?
1944, Forced to Fight or Made to
Forced
Fight.
to Fight.
Yeah.
Right, I'm gonna watch that.
It's a brilliant film.
Honestly, it's been a long time since I've seen a film where they've obviously done their research into the uniforms and the weapons so much. Yeah. Absolutely unbelievably good. Really, really good.
It's got you saying that, Steve. It's got to be, mate.
Okay. Everyone's saying 1970.
If I could recommend...
Oh, yeah.
That's a cracking film, but it's a cracking story as much as a war film, though, isn't it?
Yes.
If I could recommend one, it would be a war film that's in my top 5 of all-time war films because it's so bloody good. Paths to Glory from 1957 with Kirk Douglas.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I know.
God,
it's just one of the best war films I've ever seen, and if it's on the telly, I always watch it. It's just so well acted. The story's really good. Even the battle scenes are really good. But it's highly recommended. A really great classic war film.
Good call.
Okay.
That's choice, mate.
I'll go. So I'll go something. Say it's war, but something I've really enjoyed. If we're sticking along with the samurai, and I'm not going to say the Last Samurai, although I do have a bit of a guilty pleasure.
Hey, that was. I'll tell you what. It was all right, actually. That film.
No, I think that film gets a bit too sad. I think the scenery. Anyway, it's. I'll describe it as a war film because there's a lot of movies. There's a Japanese film called 13 Assassins. If you've seen that,
yeah.
And it's absolutely fantastic. It's one of the best choreographed films I've ever seen. It's just I think it's about an hour and 45 minutes, and the first 45 minutes of the film is laying out the plot and things like that, and then the final hour is a fight of 13 guys. It's a bit Seven Samurai kind of. But it's very, very good. If you're interested in samurai kind of stuff. That being said, there's another good one called When the Last Sword is Drawn, which is like the Japanese version of their attempt at showing sort of like the last samurai period and the decline of the samurai, which is obviously a bit more sort of accurate. If you don't mind subtitles.
Yeah. Well, there was speaking of Japanese, there was a film about I think it's called The Last Kamikaze. It's about the kamikaze pilots from the Japanese, and that's subtitled. It's in Japanese. But it was actually quite interesting. It was on Amazon actually. I think it was on Amazon.
Yeah, I think it was. I think I saw that one.
Yeah. It's about one of the officers in the sacrifice that he made. Like, I'm not going to give away the story, but the reasons behind doing it, that he was doing it, was different to he was like an ace pilot, wasn't he? I think.
That's right.
I'll tell you what. I think they're really good films. I don't know. Again, this point, I really like the two Clint Eastwood films, Flags for Our Fathers and Letters to Iwo Jima.
Oh yeah, man.
And I think
they're fantastic.
For an American
fantastic
director,
films.
I like Clint Eastwood. West, all of them. But Clint Eastwood was to him to direct a foreign language film, Japanese film, and convey it in the way he did, and actually. One of the few films I've ever seen an American do where the Japanese are actually portrayed in a bit more of a sympathetic light to the ones who are conscripted, and the people who didn't want to be there anymore, I think is a fantastic, absolutely fantastic film.
Man.
Yeah, I agree with you
just
there.
the way but do you know what's crazy is I watched that Flags of Our Fathers, and like for 2 or 3 years I did not know Letters from Iwo Jima existed. And then I came across it and was like, I started watching. I was like, "This looks familiar. This is the same scene." Oh, because then I realised.
That's an amazing thing about that film. Where you see
wow.
get filmed at the same time, the polar opposites. So you have the guy who's in the machine gun nest shooting at the guy with the flamethrower, but when you watch Flags of Our Fathers, you just see the guy run up with the flamethrower, and it's very good. There's I think I should probably run. There's hundreds of recommendations here.
Yeah. So.
Dunkirk, 1917. Owen Douglas says A Bridge Too Far. Modern Provider says A Bridge Too Far. Zulu, Waterloo. Someone here says they think they should maybe remake Waterloo. That was Nick Games. I don't know about that.
It's a bit like Gettysburg. You can't remake that with all those real people in and not CGI it.
Owen Douglas has said Come and See. Have you seen that?
No.
The World War II film.
No.
It's not a light viewing. It's very good, very, very good. I wouldn't watch it sort of like if you're like, you're wanting a nice uplifting evening. But it is a very good film.
What's it about, mate? Because I've never heard of it.
It's about it's about the East. It's basically told from the point of view of this kid who's drafted into in with the Soviets, but it's all about like the atrocities that happen on the Eastern Front and what happens to those villages and all of that kind of stuff. And it's just a visually and brutal. It's not so much it's a brutal film. It's quite exhausting watching it.
Yeah.
It is very good.
It's a bit like The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. Have you guys seen that?
Yeah.
Like concentration camps. That's a very hard film to watch.
A lot of those films are very difficult to watch, but you sort of have to watch them, I think.
Of course you do, yeah.
Yeah.
My humble opinion. It's
isn't it?
Paul said Cross of Iron. Yeah, that's a bit of a winner. And War and Peace.
Oh yeah.
The 70s
Fantastic
Russian version. I don't think I've seen that one. War and Peace. That's a bit extreme, Paul. There you go. But yeah.
It's Russians though. They've got to be played up big in it.
There's no votes for Fury in here, as I can see.
No.
No, that's Steve's vote there.
Battle of Britain as well. That's an all-time classic, isn't it?
Yeah.
All-time classic.
Actually worked out. When was it? I can't remember because the other day I was looking through my DVD collection and Fury is actually on my shelf.
When did you buy that?
Covered in dust.
Maybe you could do a giveaway, Steve.
I enjoyed it. I don't care what you say. It wasn't. You wouldn't want to call it historical film, but I really enjoyed it as a film.
Playing devil's advocate. Didn't mind it up until the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, that final scene was.
I lent it to someone. Exactly the same.
Yeah, exactly right.
Again, the level of detail, the sort of believable characters. So I don't despise it from start to finish. For 90% of the film, it was quite good, but
that last 10%.
I can't unsee that last 20 minutes. I really can't. No matter how much mind bleach I use, it's still stuck in there.
There's a Russian version of that film, Fury, where they get captured by the Germans and they bring a
T-34. Jesus Christ! Have you seen it? Have you seen it? When they go over a ramp and the T-34 like flies up a ramp. Oh my god! And then they fire a shell and they kind of bounce it off the road. Oh my god! Yeah, I work with a World War II enthusiast. He's not a war gamer, but he's really into it. He's into his vehicles. He knows everything. And I showed him to the trailer to that, and he was getting really angry with me. Like really upset about it, and then he started pacing around the office swearing, and then he had to go for a fag to just sort of like
go. It's a T-34-85 as well, and it's like taking on three
the bit when they fire like a Panther and the T-34, they fire at the same time, and the shells go past each other like this and like spark off each other. And
don't get me wrong, for a cinematic film, if it's not historically accurate, just for an action film, it wasn't actually that bad for an actiony film. If that's what you're watching it for. Because I did like the slow-mo camera effects with the shell going through, how it looked. But yeah, it's not very accurate, is it?
Have you seen it, Steve?
No.
You need to watch it.
I should probably
You need to watch it.
A trailer. Have you seen anything about it at all?
I saw the trailer, and I was like, I have my concerns with this one. I should point out from a sort of a benchmark. If I'm insulting films, one of my favourite films of all time is Weekend at Bernie's. So don't take my film knowledge to be anything other than amateur. Given that Weekend at Bernie's gets regular rotation around my place.
Steve, promise me you'll watch this by next week if Martin sends you the link. Just watch it and give us feedback.
What's it called?
T-34.
Yeah, just called T-34.
It's just called T-34. Miller has said Steve's got to use his Fury DVD as a base for his next artillery piece.
Oh, do you want to see the next base? That's my next base for my artillery piece. A nice 10x10.
Oh my god.
But yeah, it's a good suggestion. That or rudimentary frisbee, table mat, dartboard. The possibilities are endless.
You could base
Nick Gaines
tank
has just
on
said
it.
about that film I told you guys about. I'm sorry.
Say, mate, sorry?
Go on, Dom.
No, I was just saying he could base one of his tanks on that Fury DVD. That'd be great. Because everyone loves a base tank.
Yeah? No, he doesn't, because any arseholes base tanks.
There we go. Nick Gaines recommend. You know that film I told you guys about earlier called The Hauptmann, the Captain.
Mm-hmm. I watched that again. I watched that again, man.
That's a good film, but it's like it's not
a real story.
I know. It's not a happy film, mind you. Most of the films.
I was going to say there are not many war films that are happy films.
He was in the Luftwaffe as well, wasn't he? He was actually Luftwaffe, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So he's like an airborne. He wasn't even a soldier. I think he was like aircrew, and he just that film.
He steals a uniform from a ranking officer and then basically impersonates him and gets his little band of followers as he goes around, and then it's just horrendous.
War crimes. That's all I'm going to say. War crimes, but it's not even against what you would think it would be against. Fucking, it is proper. Yeah.
King Matt is just Matt's just jumped in with Wind Talkers with Nicolas Cage, and now they're all going about the. Do you know what? I'll change that. And I get a lot of hate for this at work, right? But I despise Nicolas Cage. I absolutely hate him in films. I cannot stand him. Do you know what? There's two. I know it's going to sound really sad, but there is actually two films I actually like him in, and that is really sad Disney films. The National Treasure Hunt.
Oh yeah, that's great. Yeah, I love that film.
I really like.
Yeah.
There's two of them. I really liked him in that film, and that's the only things I really liked.
I like Con Air as well. That was good.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't. But I like films like Con Air and The Rock, but because I like Con Air because of John Malkovich, and I like The Rock because of Sean Connery and Ed Harris.
Yeah.
He's always got very good. Have you seen the remake of The Wicker Man?
No. Oh my
No.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, man.
Jesus.
Oh,
there's just some films that shouldn't be remade.
I don't know what it is about it. Just
no.
Just say no.
It's just everyone's got it. Everyone's gone. I can't explain it. I just dislike it.
Well, that's the cliffhanger for next week, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, episode 37 next week. 37 weeks on the trip.
I thought this was episode 34.
Is it?
That's what you said.
That's what you said at the beginning.
You said that was at the start.
We've suddenly done. We were on for a hell of a long time. If we're at 37 next week, that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so yeah, episode 35 next week. We'll try and get some more wargaming talk. We've had a nice ramble this evening, gentlemen.
We certainly
had
have.
a very nice ramble. We'll try and get some order in. But put us in the comment sections below what you want to hear us talk about next week. We'll let you guys decide for once. So yeah, what do you guys think of that? Let them decide.
Send some questions in, yeah.
Yeah, we may listen, we may not. We've still got Peter's little question of the week. We didn't get around to that, but we'll do that next week, Peter. Sorry, mate.
But thanks very much for watching, guys. We'll see you again next week.
See you again soon.
Bye-bye.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.